Good evening and welcome to Boston Newsnet. I'm JR Strauss, and joining me for tonight's Top Stories Anniversary Edition is streetwalker Kristina Smarz.
Reporter, JR.
What?
Street reporter. Streetwalker means something completely different.
Does it?
It does. Great to be back, everybody!
Hey, Kristina, it's great to have you back, especially as we look at some of the local top stories that grabbed our attention over the last year. Who, of course, could forget our very first story last March about how toll booth attendants on the Mass Pike would no longer be allowed to carry guns.
Which was followed immediately by the news that toll booth attendants carry guns.
Not to worry, though, Kristina, as union representatives calmed the fears of the public that toll workers at least had 2 hours of training.
Which is probably why they took their guns away in the first place.
Good point. And they probably didn't really need the guns to protect themselves, especially considering that we learned in June that at least some of the people stealing money from the MBTA were toll workers, some netting as much as $80,000 over a few years. Good job.
Which is about the same amount we're all going to be spending once the new gas tax goes through to pay for all of the toll takers.
Kristina, in Boston, that's also known as the circle of life.
JR, I prefer my stories about crime to be a little bit more old-fashioned, thank you.
Well, good news then, because we have plenty to report on that front. Remember James Marzilli, formerly a member of the Massachusetts Senate?
Sort of.
Well, you'd probably have a clearer recollection if you were the woman he tried to grope in Lowell last June.
Yeah, I was groped in Worcester.
I believe that the Worcester motto is a great place to be groped. That being said, it did start to seem over the last year like criminals in Boston were losing their flair.
But in May, we discovered a new favorite, the owner of a North End cheese shop and the reputed New England Mafia underboss Carmen the Cheeseman D'Annunzio, who was arrested on bribery charges.
He's a great representative for both lovers of imported Italian cheese and those who enjoy racketeering.
The best part was that he wasn't considered a flight risk because, according to sources, every time he runs, he winds up crashing through a brick wall.
Kristina, he's so fat, his mugshot said, "Picture continued on other side."
Thank you! High five!
Oh, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Fat joke dancing is always good.
And speaking of fun, last year we introduced our BNN winter driving drinking game. Of course, we in no way condone drinking and driving.
Although we do suggest that Boston is one of the few cities in the world where a good buzz will probably make you a better driver.
In case you missed the December 20th show where we introduced the game, here it is again.
Just in time for the next heartbreaking nor'easter we'll probably be getting sometime around April.
If you see someone shoveling out a parking spot, drink once. If you see them putting a patio chair in the spot to keep other people from parking in it, drink twice. If you park badly enough so they can't get back into the spot, finish the bottle. Because you're going to want to be good and drunk when you're savagely beaten with an ice scraper.
You know.
I went down the wrong hole, huh? I know all about that.
It's so uncomfortable when that happens.
Although not all of the stories we reported, they weren't good news.
Who could forget March 29th, when we covered the death of Mandy, Franklin Park Zoo's beloved mandrill?
According to John Linehan, the zoo's CEO, it was certainly a loss that he explained as certainly to be felt.
Although I think when he says that it will be felt, he probably means feelings of relief, because mandrills are fucking terrifying.
And finally, we had to say goodbye to Reston the Rooster, Somerville's favorite screeching man chicken.
I'll never forget the words of Somerville Police Sergeant Jerry Reardon, who said, "If someone took my cock, I would want people looking for it."
So many good times. I, for one, can't wait to see what the next year offers.
You know what? If it's as full of guns, the mob, and cocks as last year, I think we'll be in luck.
Well, if all else fails, we've still got Menino.
And I can't think of anything funnier than that.
And those were your top anniversary style stories. Happy birthday!